Today's episode of the Protect You podcast is sponsored by Game One. Looking to elevate your game? At Game One, we come alongside your team to provide custom uniforms, apparel, and equipment built for performance and delivered with unmatched service. Plus, our online team and fan stores make it easy for athletes and parents to get custom gear anytime, anywhere. Visit game-one.com today to learn more because your team deserves the best. Welcome on in, folks, to another episode of the Protect You podcast. I am Jake Wilson, as always, alongside the man, Jay Mickens. Jay, it's been a very hectic week. A lot of moving pieces going on behind the scenes here, but we're very excited to bring another edition of the Protect You podcast to give an update to the good folks at home.
It's a lot. I'm still working, messaging general managers now, the guys, spring ball, unofficial visits. It's been a fun, roller coaster, but it's been a lot. It's been a lot. It's good problems to have.
Exactly. Good problems. To say work is always a good thing to have. And we've had a lot of it as of late, especially trying to keep track of where guys are going for the unofficial visits, getting ready for the spring camp schedules and the summer camp schedules, as well as, Jay, even more offers coming in for our guys.
Yeah, but even before the camp schedule, Jake, just a quick rewind. You're looking, we have a very strong 2027 class.
That we do.
When you got a couple of 4-stars, soon to be a 5-star, to go along with a lot of high-level 3-stars. Our guys are just getting so many offers, and the cool thing about it is that they're all committable offers too. And so, because the general managers aren't going to be calling me if they aren't really set up. So, but anyway, it's been definitely a blessing. So happy for all of our Protect You crew members and the success, that they're already having. And dude, they got a whole nother senior season left to play. So it's only the beginning for these young men, and I'm excited for them.
That it is. And let's just dive head first into these new offers that we've been getting here, making it 14 straight weeks now where we are discussing new offers coming in for high school members of the Protect You crew. And Jay, it starts out red hot. One of the guys that we are always incredibly excited to talk about is our guy, Ryder Flugents, who picked up an offer recently from North Texas, making it 5 Division I offers for the soon-to-be starting quarterback out of Bernie Champion.
Yeah, man. Look, we talked about this young man a lot, but I'd be remiss to say that I don't know if when it's all said and done, if there'll be another quarterback ranked higher than him in that 29 class. And I know there's a lot of good QBs. There's one here in the North, Houston area that I think is going to have a claim to that title. But what Ryder is doing already, and these coaches are recognizing it. And he's going to be the guy. He's hot. I wish he could come help me with my allergies that I'm having issue with here, man. See, Ryder could be Mr. Miyagi as well. But no, happy for Ryder. Can't wait to continue to see what this young man does. I think the most exciting part is that he's going to get the stars of true sophomore. And Jake, I think we know that this show is about to light up the sky.
That's incredible. That is incredible stuff to hear out of him. We're very excited to see how many more doors are going to continue to open up for our guy, Ryder. And then we transition over to one of the sharpest, I think, members of the Protect You crew, guy who has sky-high aspirations for where he wants to go to school, not just for the football side, but for the academics as well. And that's our guy, Brandon Abear, who picked up 2 offers over the past week. And it starts out with Georgia Southern shooting an offer his direction. Good to see that he continues to pick up some action on the recruiting trail. And then, of course, trying to keep him local, the North Shore product is Houston Christian. The Huskies shooting an offer his way. Congratulations, Brandon, on another great round of offers to continue to build up well over the double-digit mark.
Yeah, no, and, Brandon, he is our academic guy, right? Starting left tackle for the North Shore Mustangs, a.k.a. the show. The add on to this accolade, right? We got invited to him, making like a all-American academic team, right? This is just a very unique young man because he could go to a lot of P4 schools, in the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, but academics is huge. He had other OVs set up and he turned them all down to go to Harvard this past weekend because he is 100% in on the academic side. And, I just can't wait to get Brandon here in the studio and allow him to talk about, his story and his journey and his makeup, because let's just be honest, Jake. The majority of people that go to the Ivies for football is because they know that that's a stepping stone to get to the next level, where this is Brandon's game plan. And, I'm excited for this young man. Like I said, he's very unique. He's like the unicorn of the Protect You crew.
Yes, this incredibly intelligent young man. And may I add, state champion as well. So he takes care of it on the field, but then also shows a lot of emphasis off of the field with the academics. Congratulations, Brandon, with remaining red hot. And then another guy that it's been a while since we talked about him, but Caden Williams continues to build up some hype as he picked up New Mexico State as an offer. Another great one coming in for the linebacker product out of the Willis Wildcat program. Very excited to see what that future is going to look like for him, especially with a sky-high ceiling for that senior season.
Yeah, no, definitely happy as well for Caden, man. I mean, it's happening for him. I mean, he's growing. He's continually to garner interest. And I mean, look, just another great young man that I think is going to end up dominating in the secondary. He kind of reminds me of like an Ed Reed type. And just that viciousness, the speed, the athleticism. And I feel that he could end up being that guy. And look, at the end of the day, the NFL is always a dream of everyone, and everybody's journey is different. But don't be shocked, right? When we hear his name called one day, just because of the fact that he's going to kill it at the combine, right? I mean, and you see guys some guy I heard that in past draft got drafted, never even played football before.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? And so he's kind of one of those guys, but if he gets in the right program and is utilized the right way, look, I'm telling you, Caden's gonna be a guy to be reckoned with for a very long time.
And one other guy that continues to reap the return on investment here of partnering up with Protection United is our guy Ethan Williams, as he picked up Harvard, and the Ivy League school is shooting an offer his direction. Another wide receiver that has shown off a tremendous amount of intelligence. I've had a great opportunity to sit down with him, do some mock interviews of trying to go through and emulate what that interview process is like from the coaching perspective. And he's done an excellent job, really taking the bull by the horns, asking me some questions of what are some good pointers? What are some good ways to deal with anxiety when we're sitting down in these one-on-one situations? And so I commend Ethan for continuing to invest in himself during this recruiting journey. And now we move over once more to Tony Guillory, who picked up another 2 offers over this past week, starting with Incarnate Word was the first one to come in for him. Good to see that he, once again, remains red hot in terms of that recruiting trail. And then Georgetown, the Hoyas, shooting an offer his way, trying to bring him up to that Washington, D.C. area. Congratulations, Tony, on, once again, some great offers and continuing to, like we talk about, build up that snowball and keep things rolling downhill, because momentum can do a lot of crazy things on the recruiting trail. And last, but certainly not least, I know Mama Coleman, you're watching here, already see you in the chat. Thanks for sticking around. We are, of course, talking about Tavis Coleman, who picked up Lamar. Congratulations. Again, Coleman family, one of the great families here, really represents that Protect You trinity of the main thing's the main thing. You got to be a dog out there on the field, but then also what we bring to the table at Protect You, and then that incredibly supportive family. And Tavis, the rest of that Coleman family really embodies it.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. So happy for for all these young men. I mean, obviously Ethan Williams, getting continuously more accolades. Love what we're doing there with him, and building more of a rapport, and allowing him to kind of see the fruits of his labor. Obviously Tony Guillory, I mean, just another great young man. And picking up a couple of good offers, right? Connor Word, Georgetown, once again, schools that he could go in and play as a true freshman. And then, yes, last but not least, right, obviously Tavis Coleman, picking up another one. That QB position is so sensitive, right? And the fact that he's starting to garner a little bit more interest, I think that's great, right? And the good thing about with these schools, too, is that for Tavis, when they offer a QB this late, he don't have to worry about asking if it's committable or not. Right, because they wouldn't be offering if it's not a committable offer. So, happy for Tavis. And once again, those first 4 games of the season are going to be huge for him. Those growth plates are still open. So Tavis is going to hit another growth spurt. And that's going to be the kind of cool story on Tavis Coleman, is because go back to Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen was 6'1", and he was a trainer at Central Arkansas. Next summer, Scottie Pippen's 6'7", and they're like, "Hey, dog, you want to be on the team and not be the trainer anymore?" Now he's a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Tavis Coleman, if he gets to be the same height as his brother Bryce and gets to be that 6'4", 6'5" height, we're talking about a whole new ball game, right? Because that is the only check box that Tavis is not 100% checking off, right? And the same thing happened with Jalen, right? Everything is perfect, but you're too short, right? Tavis being 6'1", almost 6'2", that's good height.
Mhm.
But we know that great height where these bigger schools want. They want you to be around 6'3", 6'4", if you're going to be, starting off there. Not saying he can't get there at 6'1", but it's just being able to get to where he ultimately wants to get. That extra growth spurt could help get them there a little bit faster than what he might be scheduled to do so.
Yes, and so once again, he remains red hot heading into this upcoming senior season. Congratulations not only to Tavis, but to the rest of this excellent group of Protect You athletes picking up more offers. And there it was, folks, the catch seen around the world. An immaculate grab coming down by the man Jalen Mickens during Louisiana Tech spring practices and the visits that they had out there. But I mean, Jay, talk about an incredible grab from a guy that has a lot of, let's just say, a pretty big chip on his shoulder heading into this upcoming season.
Yeah, no, I don't know if there's a chip on his shoulder or not, Jake. I mean,
He certainly plays like it.
Yeah, no, he just plays hard. But no, I mean that catch got everybody on their feet in the stadium. Huge crowd was there for the spring game. I think a lot of excitement, coming off of that 7-game win season. This past season, winning a bowl game, first time in about 5 or 6 years. And then, of course, going to the Sun Belt, right?
Yes.
And we'll talk about that in more detail as we get closer and closer to the season of just the real impact that's going to help La Tech for not only going from a bigger conference, but kind of bringing back some old rivalries. But, everybody in the stadium stood on their feet and went completely nuts, when he made that catch. And the coaches are just so excited, for him. So, this – first athlete spotlight. I don't know if you want to tee that up now
absolutely,
before we jump into it.
Absolutely, because as we transition over and we get to see a lot more highlights coming in and a lot more pictures coming in from these college athletes, we want to take time to really spotlight some of the up-and-coming talent and some of the guys that have really been putting in the work to try and pay off their collegiate journeys, and we think Jalen perfectly embodies that in this first true edition of an athlete spotlight where, like we said, he got out there and he dazzled in front of those coaches, in front of those prospects that are coming out for the visits. But then you even see a couple of shots of it there of the people in the stands getting ready to watch and see what this Bulldog team is really going to look like in this upcoming season.
Yeah, no, and I mean, there's a picture of me and his fiance, Hannah. Big shout out to her. Then, of course, there's a great shot of them, her watching him. I was able to get her on the field. And, of course, that shot afterwards. And then me and Coach Cumbie, right? Sonny's in the house. Great man. And then Jalen and I went to go eat dinner afterwards, man. So definitely was a fun, experience, getting to see it. But, yeah, you always know that you're going to be one of the guys when it's thudding, 7-on-7 one-on-ones, they let you go, right? The moment that they want to see some real hidden and they're 100% live, you see – that left offensive tackle, right? You'll see that tight end. You'll see the starting QB and the starting running back. And then there's little Jalen, right? There's Jalen on the sideline with them. He wasn't as happy about that, right? Dad had to kind of explain to him. He called me and was like, hey, man, they're not letting me go. They're not letting me get hit. Like, I don't know what's going on. And so I'm starting to kind of drill down to get more questions answered. And I finally get to the point to where I'm like, bro, you don't realize that's a good thing? He's like, why is that good? I'm like, because you're one of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to understand that this is a real business. Like Coach Cumbie, their jobs were on the line last year. And if they didn't win and do what they did, the president of the school is going to have an uncomfortable conversation, and so in turn, they understand that they need you and a few of your other teammates to be healthy going into the season and can't allow a season-ending injury in spring ball, right? So trying to get them to understand that, of course, at dinner, we were able to sit down. Him and Chase King was with me, and we were able to kind of talk about that. But love the upcoming season. Love everything that they're going to be from an expectation standpoint, right? Him coming off of catching 20 balls, almost 500 yards, and a touchdown as a true freshman. It kind of speaks high volumes of really what we're doing here at Protection United too, right? Making sure we find the right homes for our guys and make that perfect fit. And Jalen really is just a true testament to what we really are doing. And Jake, this, right? We're on these consultations.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, we always want to bring up DJ Lagway, or Justin Williams, because those dudes are headliners, right? And people cut us off all the time, and they tell us, they're like, yeah. So Justin Williams is like an alien running around at linebacker for Georgia, and DJ is a once in a lifetime generation talent. What did you do with Jalen? Because he looks more like my kid.
Yeah.
Like that's. Can you just tell me how you got your kid to where he is and how he's already getting able to show success without having to sit on the bench for 3 or 4 years, right, before he finally got his opportunity. So, but definitely excited. Because of Chase, I was allowed to be just dad this weekend. Big shout out to my guy. I know we'll talk a little bit about the recruits of the Protect You crew that we have La Tech looking at, through our recruiting services towards the end of the show. But yeah, all in all, Jake, it was a great experience. And the last thing is that you also know when your son's a dude when the coaches come up to you and you're not having to go up to the coaches, right? So,
Mr. Mickens, good to see you.
Yeah. I'm like, just call me Jay. Just call me Jay. You don't have to call me Mister.
But you were really looking the part out there too. You had the La Tech shirt on. You had the matching shorts to go with it. Well, you were proper dad fit looking there.
Hey, well, I got to look clean. I'm going to always color coordinate. Always color coordinate, but I mean, and that was fun. It really was, and I will say that now with it being just down to one transfer portal too, I love the fact that we were able to watch spring games all over.
Yes,
as well.
That's big one.
But anyway, fun. I know, also too. We were able to get an interview, with Jalen afterwards, and Computer Jesus, if you're ready to kind of roll that, so we can kind of show the other part of the athlete spotlight.
My second year of spring went pretty well. Got to see the group of players we have around me. I'm excited going into next year. And we all got to develop as a team and get better. So definitely looking forward into next season. My expectations for next season is just to really just do better than I did next year. I feel like there's a lot of plays that I could have done better, or really just seeing where I was on the depth chart. I was starting, but not the receiver one I wanted to be. So next year I had to step up into that role and just excel and be as great as I can be. What games I'm most excited for? Definitely LSU, Baylor, but really all games I'm most important for because this year I'm really betting on myself to play on my highest level and to excel. So I'm excited for every game next season. I mean, because I got some friends over there, of course, and it's a pretty big stage. So when you're in front of big cameras, a lot of people, it always makes the game more fun. And I play better when I play in bigger stadiums. So I'm excited for that.
Always a bright personality, as always. Got that great smile. Always a person that you want to go up to and just interact with. Just a great guy to be around. That's why we love you, Jalen, and that's why we had to shout you out in the first edition of the True Athlete Spotlight here on the Protect You podcast.
Yeah, that was fun. Well, I just real quick on the interview itself. I liked how he talked about having friends, right? In that Baylor game. I tell you what, bro, like. I won't be able to sleep. I thought going to LSU back-to-back years would be like my highlight as a dad of being like, I get to watch my kid play in Tiger Stadium, right? It was so electric last year because they had just beat Clemson. So they were like top 5 in the nation in that game. Now you got Lane Kiffin. It's going to be a madhouse, right? I mean, it's going to be wild and crazy, and I'm excited for that. But that Baylor game, think about that. Like DJ Lagway and Jalen have not been on the field together since DJ's senior year, Jalen's junior year.
Say it's been what, 3 years now?
In the Alamo Dome.
Yeah,
that's the last time that they got to be on the field together, and get to see that opportunity and to have him, and that's why I liked how he talked about that. So I ain't gonna be able to sleep though. Like that Friday night, dude. Like I'm gonna be up all night. We might as well just tell Andy to come here at midnight, and then stand out here, and he can smoke his cigarettes.
He would, and he absolutely would too.
He'll sit there, smoke his cigarettes, and talk. whatever language he speaks, but he's Andy. He's an American, but doesn't look American.
I'm Andy, but
no last name either.
Yeah, just Andy.
Just Andy.
Just Andy.
And I'm going to drill down.
We may not know a whole lot about him, but we know damn well that he can drive.
Andy can drive. That dude, Andy can drive.
Shaved off, what was it, like 2 hours off of a trip from Ruston to
he will get us. He's going to get us to Waco in 30 minutes. Like by the time we finish the first mimosas, one glass, we're going to be like, hey, y'all here.
And we're here.
Hey, Andy, it's supposed to be a 2.5 hour drive.
I have my ways.
Yeah. I think he waits for us to go to sleep. And
then he just pedaled in the metal the entire way.
Probably. Either way, it's going to be fun. Obviously, once again, as we get closer to that event, but that will be a huge Protection United event, getting the Sprinter van and having all y'all kind of come. And we get to support 3 of our athletes, right?
Yes.
I mean, along with Jalen, have DJ Lagway, DeBron Hampton. It's going to be a fun day trip. My hope is that it's a 2:30 kickoff. Because that would be like
that'd be ideal
for like a day trip and come back. But either way, even if it's a night game, still going to be fun. And looking forward to that big matchup.
Yeah, definitely cause for celebration. And one of the highlights I'm definitely looking forward to when it comes to this upcoming season. Last bit of administrative duties that we got to wrap up.
It's a celebration, Jake. It's not administrative. It's got another celebration.
That's on me.
That's on you.
That's on me.
Don't make somebody's birthday.
Cause for celebration.
There it is.
Cause for celebration. And a recent celebration at that, as our guy Daniel Nicobia got to celebrate his birthday just yesterday. April 27th was a very happy cause for every single one of us here. We love to see that our guys show a little bit of that love back to them in their group chats of, hey, Daniel, know it's been a while. We know that this has been a uphill journey for you, but happy birthday, man.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Daniel.
Everyone likes to hear that happy birthday.
They do.
When it comes.
They do.
When it comes to not only just the family, but then also the people that represent you. Like, who does that?
I know. Well, we do. And then look at that. Here's another celebration, another surprise. Daniel, here's your present in the form of Jason Phillips.
Not a great present, but I'm here.
Hey, Jason, man, we welcome you back to the show, brother.
Appreciate being back, man.
Look here. Fans were so excited, right? And people were hitting us up like, I mean, we looked this Jason Phillips guy up after he was on the pod, like, holy cow, like, do y'all know his story? We're like, yeah, we know it. They're like, well, can you get him back on and start telling more? So we're like, fine, let's just buy into this whole thing and let's see if we can let some legs grow. So this is now, guys, the first ever Keeping It Real with J. Phil.
Getting it rolling. I'm excited.
Rolling, big dog.
Yeah.
So with this, guys, just for the fans that are watching, we are basically, for all of our Dave Chappelle fans, right? If y'all remember the True Hollywood Stories with Charlie Murphy, right? This is going to be Keeping It Real with J. Phil. When J. Phil comes on here, he's going to be talking to us about his life, talking about, his journey from college to the pros. But then he's going to take us back in time. We're going to jump around a little bit when Dad was getting on his ass about stuff. Then we're going to go in the lead to where Ray Lewis was getting on his ass about stuff. Then his little stint in Carolina and all the things, guys. So he's going to give us behind the scenes all access, have some really powerful moments in it. But most importantly, guys, because I know what y'all love to do, which is laugh. He's going to come with some funny stories. And so that being said, man, I'm excited. Thank you for.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, man.
Thanks for agreeing to do this. I know originally you were kind of like, Jay, what am I signing up for here? But hey, man, we like to give the people what they want, Jay.
Yeah, you got to. And I'm excited to be here, man. Like the first round was a little nerve-wracking, but I feel like I got my flow a little bit after watching it a few times. And yeah, I'm excited, man. You guys got a lot of good energy. I can match it, so that's good. Because otherwise, it goes back to the Nick Saban quote, mediocre people don't like motivated people, and motivated people don't like mediocre people. So I had to get around some motivated people.
Yeah, no. Well, look here, brother. We're going to make this easy for you. It's like having Tupac play a gangster in the movie, right? Just be yourself, dog. Be yourself. So that's what we want you to do here, right? That's why we love the story time because, you shared some stories with me off camera, and now that you put it on camera.
Yeah.
Right? So...
yeah, and we like to throw you those soft lobs, like you're dunking on a 7-foot goal, and you do an excellent job with that. And the last time we had you on, you took us through an excellent journey of talking about your come up essentially from being that bench warmer on high school to now you're making it to TCU. You make that transition, a tough one at that, where you have to have that deep talk with Gary Patterson. You have to have that deep talk with your father to essentially solidify that this is going to be worthwhile, making the jump from fullback to linebacker. And now, can you take us just a little bit of that post transition to the defensive side of the ball? What was that initial jump to you like while you were still at TCU?
Going into it, I thought it was going to be very difficult. I thought it was going to be very hard because Coach Patterson's defense is very complicated and it's very hard to learn. Luckily, we had a new coach come in that year. His name was Tony Tapney. He recently passed a couple of years ago, but he was a great man, great coach, and we sat up there every day in the summer and went through every coverage, every call, everything you can think of. I got a really good friend named David Hawthorne. He played 9 or 10 years in the NFL as a free agent, but he stayed and worked with me on it. And then that defense that year is really what helped me become a good player. I knew how to see ball, get ball. Like that's just, I only know how to go one speed, so that's nothing. But it was getting the alignments, the assignments. What am I supposed to do, if this guy goes out at 2 yards compared to 4 yards? And that's where the communication from the older guys really came in and helped me out a lot. But going through that summer, I learned it the best I could. We went into camp and working with Hawthorne's probably the best I've ever played as a linebacker on the field just because me and him worked so well together. And it ended up with me starting that first game against Oklahoma. Adrian Peterson had to get 70-something yards to get 2,000, and we kept him at 67.
Nice.
Okay.
So, we got the win.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, like, that's all day. Yeah, that's all day, baby. That's AD for me. I know AP for the Longhorns fans, but the rest of the world, it was AD. Dude, I got to ask this. How was it when you met that monster in the hole for the first time?
So I had a knack for playing low. I could get low, I could get skinny, but I've never seen somebody like him, as tall as he is, get his pads about a foot off the ground, hit you, run you over, and then keep going.
Yeah.
But I knew I was in not trouble. I was just like, all right, let's go. This is the big time, because when he was getting off the ground one time and I was going to help him up, looked at his arms. I was like, my arms aren't that big, man. You're a running back. Like, what's this going to be like? But we ended up beating him 13-10. And the one thing about Coach Patterson and his defense, he was going to stop the run. And so we lined ourselves up to stop the run. But
hold on, Jason. I don't care about Coach Patterson, and I don't care about no team defense. I want to know just about Jason Phillips. Go back to my question. You're going down another path. Bring it back here. I want to know, when you met that man in the hole for the first time, what was that like? Like, give me the feel, the power, the hit. That's what the fans want to hear.
Okay, so when I was playing and coaching, I always taught, if you're not hitting below the thigh boards, you're going to miss the tackle. Well, with him, I had to hit him below the ankles because the only other guy I've ever ran into was Brandon Jacobs in the NFL that could bring it like that. And both of them
say that story.
Both of them knocked my helmet off. So.
Okay. But holy cow, Brandon Jacobs, that's going to be a good one.
Wow. Oh man, and but the way AD was interesting was he didn't talk. He just got up, went back to the huddle, and just killed you again. They got up, went back to the huddle, and just came at you again.
So the first time you made that tackle, is that when you knew, dude, I could play this game at a high level? Because you knew it was a future Hall of Famer, I'm assuming.
Oh, 100%. And I've been watching. We were the same age. And once I made that tackle and realized, okay, this is the best in the country right now as far as what we got. And I just took him down relatively, not easy, but I got him on the ground,
Yeah.
And I hadn't played in the position that long, so I was like, that's a win. I'm good to go.
Right.
There were a couple times I missed him. I'm not going to sit here in front. There were a couple times they had an O lineman that threw me on the ground every now and then. They had a drive in the second half. I don't think I stayed off the ground one play. They're big. I can't remember his name, but Phil Lodeholt was his name, I think. Worked up to me and threw me on the ground 6 out of 8 plays on that thing.
Yeah.
But the 2 plays he didn't, I got the tackle. So I was like, all right, I'll take it. But Adrian was a different monster, man, because the guys that are quiet and just come at you the whole game are the guys you can't read. You know what I mean? The guys you don't know, am I getting to him or is he getting to me? Because I'm thinking about it now.
Okay, so let me ask you, you being a player, right? You seen the movie The Program, right? So were you more like Latimer or were you more like Mac?
I was more like Latimer simply because I wanted to be like Mac. I loved Mac growing up, man. Like,
it's a great movie.
You know what I mean? Like,
probably one of the most underrated sports movies. I'm just going to throw that out.
Right?
by
Do we agree?
far. They haven't made another college movie since.
You
know,
ever
they
seen the
really,
programs?
Have not.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. For all
I'll
the young
have
bucks
to
out
add it to
there.
my list.
Yeah. So Sundays he sits at home and just watches movies by himself.
Okay.
And this theme that I've been going on lately is movies that I have not seen.
Okay. Well, put that at the top.
It's going to be your
Hey,
top.
Jake, you have to watch it before he comes back on here in a couple of weeks.
And just
Because
remember,
Jason's
Kane
going
is
through-
able.
That's right. Remember that. Anyway, but you're more like Latimer.
Yeah.
Right, where you're like first team defense and
Place at the table.
Yeah.
The other thing was I didn't talk a lot because I was always so out of breath. Like I was so tired because I
Right.
ran so hard everywhere.
Right.
I was like, yeah, talk all you want, man. I'm gonna go get the call, get ready to play again, you know?
Yeah.
But the few times I did get to talk, I did it to players I respected just because if I didn't respect you, I didn't care about you. But Adrian Peterson was a guy that impressed me in college, but then seeing other players in college and seeing how far ahead of them he was really made me realize that you better stack your work game up if you want to get to that next level, because that's who they are at the next level, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, and so going through that process, right? You know, because Adrian Peterson, I mean, so y'all opened up against Oklahoma?
Opened up 28-point underdogs.
But I mean, it was the first game of the season?
First game of the season, because that was back when we got paid to play teams like that.
Because that was Mountain West era, right?
Oh, that's right. Y'all were Mountain West, and then they were obviously Big 12. Okay, I got you. Okay. So from there, it's just you knew you were, and this is your junior year?
This is my freshman year. This is my very first game to ever play college football. And I played every snap on D and every snap on special teams.
Were you redshirt freshman or
redshirt freshman?
So redshirt freshman, you're starting at inside linebacker for TCU.
Yeah.
Wow.
First time I ever played linebacker in a game, you know, and again, the guys around me are what made me good that year because they talked to me a lot, but also it just goes to show you play like a rabid dog all game, you're going to be all right, you know, and if you get guys communicating with you, you're going to be even better. But getting that win did a lot for us that year because I think we were a little worried about some young guys at certain positions. We had some young guys at positions on the D-line. And again, it goes back to how good of a teammate are you? You know, those guys would stay late with me. They would do everything they could to make sure I could be successful so they could be successful.
Yeah.
And going in 28-point underdogs, I mean, we had no shot. And we walked out of it 13-10.
Yeah.
And it gave us a confidence boost of, all right, we're good this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't have anything to question.
So like for you though, like getting back to Jason, you started as a redshirt freshman and then you started all 4 years.
Every game, yeah.
Every game. So at what point where did you start to feel like, man, the NFL is actually a achievable goal for me? It's not just on my wish list as a kid anymore. Like I actually have a chance to play in the league. Like what year was that? What moment was that for you?
I think it was a few moments. One was Oklahoma when I realized, okay, these guys are human too. But also it was just throughout the seasons of this guy's got a good player. Well, I didn't think he was that good. You know what I mean? Or they've got a good O-line and he pulled and I knocked him on his back. You know what I mean? And it was just little things like that you use as those little wins that build that confidence. And then probably towards the end of my sophomore year when I got all conference again as like freshman and then sophomore and junior.
Nice. Were you first team?
I was second team my freshman year and then first team. I think I'm still the only Mountain West player to get first or second team on defense all 4 years. There was a running back that did it at UNLV. But anyway, I think it was after that sophomore year I realized I had a chance. You know what I mean? But I still had a lot of work to do. I still had a lot of things I needed to fix. And Coach Patterson was one of the best coaches for me because he didn't let me get complacent. He didn't let me find that sophomore slump. He stayed on me and stayed on me hard. But I'm the type of guy that kind of needed that. I thrive in that condition.
Yeah.
But I think after my sophomore year is when I said, okay, I got a shot. You know what I mean? I've been serious about it my whole life. But that was when I said, okay, this is actually attainable. You know what I mean? I'm not just swinging for the fences. Like I see the fence. You know what I mean? I could get there. I knew I had to put the work in, but I had a shot and I could outwork anyone, anywhere if I need to, you know? And that was always my reputation. And that's what ended up happening. I missed one game. My senior year, I had a pulled groin, and Coach P let me dress out, let me warm up. I was talking to the other guys, and then he came up to me right. We were walking in. He was like, "Take them off. You're not playing." And I was like, "Coach, you can't get me all jacked up out there. Like, get me all talking, ish to everybody, and then you're gonna pull it off." But I'm glad he did because I think I would have gone out and probably hurt myself. And we had some big games coming up.
Yeah. So speaking of like just college, man, like from like a either postseason bowl game or just huge conference game? Like what's is the most memorable game you think you played in college?
For me, it's always going to come down to the Utah game my senior year.
Okay, why is that?
Because the winner of that game was definitely going to go on, bust the BCS, and play Alabama in the Orange Bowl, I believe, or one of them. And we played them that Thursday night in Utah. We had them down 10-6 the whole game. Missed a couple chip shot field goals. But then we were going into the last drive, and they had a route combo they ran where, like in double twins, the number 2 into the boundary, which is where I'd walk out. If he ran a quick out, I let it go, and then I dropped into the slant. But if he ran 4 or 5 yards out, I'd undercut it. Well, he ran that quick out, and I knew, because we hadn't showed it all year, I knew I was going to fall right in that slant lane and get a pick sometimes during that game. The very last drive, they run that route. I say, hey, and I look and I roll back, and I bet me and Brian Johnson looked right at each other. And he went to throw it and stopped right when he saw me, because he was a great quarterback himself, and ran for a little bit. And then a couple plays later, he found somebody over the middle, and we got beat 14-10 or 13-10. I mean, we had a couple chip shot field goals. I think we had a few turnovers. Andy Dalton was still a young guy, but at the end of the day, it was on us to get the stop. And we didn't.
So you read that play, but the QB,
but he was good too. He was coached well too. And, he's from Baytown, and But he
So if you could go back to that play, would you do anything different, or do you feel that you did your job?
I did my 111th, and that's all I can do. And I don't like to look back and be negative. I look at it as that loss turned into a lot of good wins for TCU afterwards. They went to the BCS Bowl against Boise and lost. Then they went to the Rose Bowl and won.
Yeah.
And so I try to get my wins through them, because they got there doing what we taught them how to do in the culture. You know, and like I said, I think if a lot of people took that mindset and understood, hey man, you may not have got it, but the guys after you did, and that reflects more on you than it does on them, because you had to be the first one to get the thing going.
Right.
And it took me a while to get there. That loss hit me hard. It was one of the ones that I rage cried a little bit afterwards, but couldn't hang on to it for too long, because we had to play Air Force the last game, and I was not going out on 2 losses. And we ended up beating them like 44-10, but it kept us from going to the BCS game. The worst thing about it, we held people that year to 47 yards a game on the ground through the whole season.
Wow.
The next closest was, I think, Texas with like 79 or something. And then Utah was at 99. And all they talked about the whole game was how great Utah's run defense was. And I had to put it on mute. I was like, no, I'm not listening to this. But they beat them. They deserved to beat them. I was happy they beat them. I ended up playing with some of those guys in the NFL. So
in Utah, during the time, they had Urban Meyer, correct?
Oh, yeah. That was when they had Eric Weddle, the Kruger. They had a lot of good players.
Alex Smith was the backup at that time. Yeah. So, okay. So now.
I think he might have been a little ahead of Brian.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's a little older than me. I'm not sure.
Okay, because I know Utah did a deep run in the BCS. Now. Okay, so now we kind of go through. So was it going into your senior year, or was it halfway through your senior year, of when now all of a sudden you got NFL agents reaching out, being like, "Hey, we want to represent you. Could we think you're going to get drafted?" Like, how did that process work for you?
So my junior year, Coach Patterson had to pull me and another buddy of mine in his office, and basically said to us, look, you guys got your junior day coming up. You got the draft coming up, and you're not doing things right. You guys are still running around on 6th Street. You're not, showing up to workouts and putting in the work. And I mean, he told us straight up, Jason, you're not good enough. He's like, you got to show them that you're faster than you are. You've got to show them why they should bring you in. Chase, you're not explosive enough, And so I took that to heart as, that's like my dad telling me in high school. So I hit it that off season and ran a 4.56, I think, going in at 241. And I went from, a 30 something ranked backer to the top 5.
Wow.
Just because of that
combine. Yeah.
And the next year was my senior year, and we had a great year. But if Coach P hadn't talked to me about that and just been honest with me, didn't try to pamper me as a great player.
Right.
He just told me straight up, look, this is where your limitations are, and you better get them better before these guys come in and watch you.
Yeah.
Because anything that exposes you, especially in the game now, you got to cover Darren Sproles.
Right.
You better show that you can run. And so I really don't know if I would have had the success I had if he hadn't have set me down and just been honest with me. And if
Right.
I had been man enough to go, you're right. I am not focused enough on on the goals I want to achieve. I'm focused on the short term, not the long term. And he helped me get back in the groove. And but that when he told me that is when I said somebody must be talking to him about me. And that's what my dad kind of told me. He was like, well, if he's telling you that, he sees you're about to ruin an opportunity because somebody's talking to him.
Yeah.
And after that was when it kind of started to pick up a lot more because TCU wasn't the TCU.
No. Yeah,
we were kind of getting started right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But
of course. Yeah.
they also knew the guys coming out of TCU were kind of like Nick Saban's guys coming out. They knew we were gonna, play special teams, play scout team, not do
Right.
anything off the field.
Right.
They knew we were gonna be in line.
Yeah.
And
So for you though, and I love that you bring up your teammates and everybody else. I'm going to keep bringing.
I gotta get better at it.
You got to get better at it. Look, but that's what I love. I love that about you. And trust me, I promise you this. I understand everybody has like a monster inside of them that needs to be fed. I'm going to feed you a bunch of team stuff in future episodes, okay? Because we're a family here, and I know that our Protect You crew members need to hear about the team concept. And you can't be a me guy.
Yeah.
But I need you to be a me guy right now, okay?
I can give you one story that's a good me when I was walking. So we had a really good DN that was a year ahead of me named Tommy Blake. And they had about 50 guys watching him. But one guy was in his own room. And I walked by and he said my name. I didn't know who he was. So I stuck my head in. And he said, "You number 39?" I was like, "Yes, sir." He goes, "You keep doing what you're doing." He goes, "I don't know who the hell you are now." He goes, "I didn't come in here to watch you. Don't care about you." He goes, "But all I know is I'm watching this and 39 is all over the field." So he goes, "You keep doing that, you got a chance." And I was like, "Is there anything I need to do better?" He goes, Don't drag it out. Get out." I was like, "Yes, sir." Yes, sir.
He's like, "Don't ruin this moment, kid."
Yeah. I'm trying to be nice. Get the hell out. I got work to do on the other guys.
So now you get in, right? And I don't want to rush through this, right? And so I think this is a good kind of coming to a stopping point, right? Because we're at the point now where, we're about to hit to where you're going to get, going to the NFL combine. I want to hear about your pro day, the combine, the NFL draft. We're going to do that on the next episode, Jason. So as we conclude, because we're at the 2-minute warning, right? 2-minute warning here. Collegiately, right? Great memories. Obviously, you play for a great man. I cannot wait to meet Coach Patterson. Like I said, I'm going to give you my itinerary when I got to go on that official visit out to UCLA.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's May 15th to the 17th is when I'll be out there. So if you're able to work your magic and allow me to get over to USC.
Nah, he's a great guy. Yeah.
But I love hearing that because here we are big about, finding that coach that is going to continue the mentorship. Obviously, Sonny Cumbie, Jalen's head coach at Louisiana Tech, because, he was at TCU when you were there. But like having somebody like Cumbie that's, is taking Jalen and basically saying like, "Hey, Dad, he's going to be in good hands." Yeah. Helping him do the right thing, helping him achieve his goals. I love the fact that Coach Patterson served that for you.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think it's because me and him have some similarities as far as how we work and how we are. But
yeah, he's a fiery guy.
I think he saw something in me way before anybody else did as far as potential-wise what I could get to. But I think he also saw that I didn't see it. And so I think he had to bring that out in me. But as far as that time at TCU, because of what he told me, because of the work I put in, man, I hit my senior year and I was excited as I was as a freshman. And I was ready to go and get some wins. And we had kind of a thing with that class that year that we wanted to be the BCS Busters, and we were that close. You know what I mean? But again,
so for that year, were you a team captain?
Yes, so I was actually a team captain. I was on the leadership council after my freshman year. So I was sophomore, junior, senior leadership council. Wow. And I tried to lead by work ethic. I didn't think it was my place to say much at that time, but it was cool to get in there and watch how they talked about different players, talked about different issues. And it also showed me that it can go away like that, because there were a lot of things that came up that weren't great, and somebody lost their scholarship, and it proved to me right there, okay, man, you got to walk a straight line. And if you want to get to where you're going.
I love it. Well, Jason, brother, I appreciate you coming.
No, man, I enjoy it.
I mean, like, you have no idea how, like, this excites me.
Yeah.
Right. And I know the fans are going to love this, and just hearing your story. I mean, because so many people, and I wish that like the camera could like show you, because how tall are you?
6'1", 6 foot and 7/8. They couldn't even give me 6'1" at the
There it is. Right. So you're looking at a 6 foot inside linebacker. Right. And and an inside white linebacker.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That
I got my nickname at Baltimore. We'll talk about that later.
but I mean, you want to talk about being able to defeat the odds, and the thing about it is, you did it the right way. It wasn't steroids. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. It wasn't because your dad had some hookup. This is all about a young man that just grinded and continue and determined to not get off track. And I've been on, 6th Street in Fort Worth. Oh, you can get lost in the sauce on 6th Street. Real quick.
Girls that go there?
Stop it.
But I was lucky, but I also learned to outwork everyone, everywhere, every day. Like that was the one thing I tried to live by. And once coach jumped my butt that year, I was like, all right, I got away. I bought into my own BS is what I did. And so I had to get away from that and realize, hey, I'm back at the bottom and it's time to go back to work. And then it lengthened my career a lot.
But Jason, once again, bringing the entertainment, bringing the wisdom as always, man. We do really appreciate you. Thank you again for taking the time to not only talk about your story, but impart a lot of that wisdom on these upcoming athletes and what it really means to not only embody the underdog, but then fulfill that mindset and get to that next level, man. It really does mean a lot.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm more excited about it every week.
Oh yeah, no, brother. No, well, good. I'm glad because we're gonna keep this thing going. And even with some of the schools that have partnered up with us, having us come, give those educational seminars, man. We're gonna want you to be a part of that as well and get you on stage and like talk. To the match, because these rooms actually are like the rising freshman to the rising senior class, brother.
And that's my favorite thing to do. So.
Yeah. So no, definitely would love to have you be a part of it.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Just got to just get him on to protect you. Staff. Let me send you a freaking W-4 form and get you on payroll. No, you're the man, Jason. Definitely appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate you guys having me out as usual.
All right. Thank you once again, Jason, for coming on and imparting some of that wisdom on the upcoming generations and the next wave of athletes. And folks, like to remind everybody watching that today's episode is sponsored by Game One. Looking to elevate your game? At Game One, we come alongside your team to provide custom uniforms, apparel, and equipment built for performance and delivered with unmatched service. Plus, our online team and fan stores make it easy for athletes and parents to get custom gear anytime, anywhere. Visit game-1.com today to learn more because your team deserves the best. I always love talking with Jason.
No, just wait until you hear when it gets to the league. I don't want to ruin it, but just wait.
I've gotten a taste of some of the stories, but I know I know that once we dig deeper, there's going to be a lot of gold nuggets in there.
Look here, dog. You got like one cheese stick in your mouth. Wait until the main course comes out. Wait until that prime rib sits in your face. Perfectly cooked with the au jus sauce and the horseradish. Just wait.
Stop. You're making me hungry.
Jason's stories are gold. And like I said earlier, man, the thing that I think is going to be so impactful, like he's like a preacher that's going to make you laugh to keep your attention, but there's a powerful message behind it. That's Jason Phillips' walk of life. I'm telling you, just wait. Just wait. I'm excited.
There's a lot of things to look forward to, and we look forward to having Jason back on the podcast to continue talking about his journey and imparting, like we said, that wisdom and that underdog mentality and mindset to the great members of the Protect You crew. And speaking of the Protect You crew and those up and coming athletes, a lot of high schoolers have been taking some trips on unofficial visits to a lot of the major campuses and a lot of the major schools around the nation. And we had some firsthand experience as another edition of Crew on the Road got to travel out to Ruston, Louisiana for La Tech's spring game. Chase was able to play a little bit of that photography role on top of playing the connecting man, the bridging between those college scouts and the members of the Protect You crew. Thank you once again, Chase, for being able to partner all of this together as we have some great photos from that most recent trip and talking about the guys that were out there, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, starting off, Dawson Campbell, just having him there. I mean, he's someone that is on the La Tech recruiting board. They're looking at him to potentially come down to be that box safety or that outside linebacker, right? And so, getting to see, him. Then, of course, now transitioning a little bit over to Chance Green, Peyton Beckett, was there as well. It was, great experience, for them, Peyton coming in, QB obviously got a couple more years, right? So they want to see his development, Chance Green, that safety position. You know, La Tech likes those kind of safety positions, kind of like New Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, then of course there's a shot with him and Jalen right together, which was, you know, obviously amazing. And then of course all three of our guys. Like Chase was like the director of this whole thing too. I mean, he set this thing up perfect. Then of course there's Chase with Justin, the national director of recruiting at La Tech, and then ending it off with Chase and Jalen. But you know, no, Chase did his thing. I'm going to give him, you know, big shout out, you know, on our meeting later on today, right? We have our weekly staff meeting, but you know, Chase was a huge reason why I was able to be, you know, Jay, not the super agent, self-proclaimed that, but I got to be Jay the dad.
Yeah.
And that, you know, meant a lot to me because, you know, our jobs are to help our guys get looked at, right? And, you know, La Tech, we sent the list over. You know, they asked for, you know, certain young men to come by, and you know, those three young men definitely were on that initial, you know, hey, let's see, you know, and let's get them out of here. Obviously, they also have to go to camps and all that, so they're looking for them to do that. You know, also, you know, Parker and Peyton, you know, Newman, you know, was also out there as well. And you know, that is a situation where, you know, everybody's looking for linemen.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone's always looking for additional meat to be in that meat locker room.
Can never have too many.
Can never have too many. Right. And so, you know, with Parker and Peyton, you know, having the opportunity to, you know, be out there as well and to, you know, showcase a little bit of their personalities. Right. Because at the end of the day, this is all they could do. Right. Mm-hmm. All the athletes just kind of getting out there, start building those relationships. And, you know, I felt that, you know, Chase did a phenomenal job of helping connect the dots and herding the cattle, if you will, throughout the whole deal.
And Dawson was another one of those guys too, where he and I sat down and we did go through one of those mock interview type situations of me having to play that role of the coach, and how not necessarily what is it that you're answering these coaches with, but how you're answering them, trying to stay engaged, maintain that eye contact, smile, show off some of that personality side of things, because all of that stuff makes a difference, and you don't want to pass up that opportunity when you do get a one-on-one with a coach. You don't want to fumble it, so to speak, because those moments are golden. That opportunity to make a genuine connection with the coach after having paid off so much investment, right? On top of all the travel, but you have to put yourself into those situations. You have to be a dog on the field to even get those types of invites and get those types of opportunities. And so to see that our guys that were all out there for that visit took full advantage of it, photo opportunities, talking with the position coaches, talking with the players, and then obviously, like you saw there, talking with Sonny Gumby himself. That's the type of stuff that really embodies how important these visits are and how much of an emphasis needs to go into these types of opportunities, Jay.
Yeah, no, 100%, Jake. And, you know, kudos to, you know, everything that you've done with working with our guys, as well as Logan, you know, Mahoney, our talent scout here, and obviously, you know, Chase King, because as I'm still doing dad stuff and getting to hang out, I still kept my eye on everything.
For sure.
And I loved when I would look up and I would see Chase and have all of our guys, right? And then, you know, I kind of do my own thing for the next 30, 45 minutes. And then I come back and I see Dawson down there with the safeties, and then he goes over with the linebackers. You know, I see Chase Green staying with the safety group and literally following them, right? From the individual drills to like the one-on-ones to the 7-on-7 to the team. And then when they went team, you know, they all stayed on the defensive side, right? Yep. And he's following that safety coach, right? You know, seeing Parker and Peyton Newman, right? Follow the offensive lineman, follow the offensive line coach, right? Being close enough, right, to where they can hear what's going on and how they're communicating. I think that was probably the best thing that I got to see. I mean, obviously, you know, my eyes were solely on our guys, so I didn't keep my eyes on the other recruits that were there. However, I didn't see the other recruits kind of moving around. They all kind of just stayed in one spot and watched, but not truly engaged, right? And so, you know, kudos to you guys for having our guys being prepared, right, for those moments and being able to, you know, do their thing. And I honestly feel like they all left La Tech, where the coaches, had a really good impression about all of them. And that's all that we can do and hope for, right? And that's the only promise. We can't promise offers, right? We can't guarantee that we're going to get you a full ride with the NIL deal. The only thing that we can guarantee at Protection United is that we're going to make sure that we put you in front of the right people, right? We're going to make sure that you're prepared to be in front of those right people. But when those lights come on, you got to hit that two-step.
Yep.
That's on you, right? So what you put on the field, right, from film perspective on the field, but then also what you put on off the field. And then most importantly, when you're standing there in 3D, you better be ready, right? Jason talked about that, right? Coach Patterson did everything that he could do to prepare him. He told him the do's and the don'ts. He told him what he needed to improve on, but that was on Jason to go grind.
Yep.
That was on Jason to where when he met Adrian Peterson in the hole, to go be able to make that tackle, right? And so that's what we're doing here at Protection United. And yeah, the Protect You Trinity is working, baby. It's working. and the guys are loving it. Chance Green, just so happy and excited for what we're doing, right, for him. We because we manage, Chance's social media, Dawson's social media, as well as Peyton's social media. You're going to get to see those interviews and those stories that our amazing social media team has already cropped up and prepared, because we interviewed all of them and talked about their experience. Jake, you're going to be proud. You're going to be proud. You're going to be like that papa that's like, look at my children, right? Because it wasn't a lot of ums. It was like looking into the camera, a lot of confidence, right? That they were speaking, into the camera as those questions kind of flow through. But all in all, man, great experience. Once again, shout out to my guy Justin. Shout out to Coach Cumby and staff for Jenna Latour, right? Jenna is she runs the recruiting table, but most importantly for us parents, she runs the parents group me and keeps all of us in line and informed of everything. But she is a part of the recruiting deal. So big shout out to the First Lady, because they showed all of our guys first class treatment. I mean, the moment they walked up, Jake, they were already having the lanyards. Oh yeah, you're the guys with Protection United. Here's your lanyard. Here's where you need to go, blah, blah, blah. And everything was smooth. So I really appreciate the love that La Tech showed.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jay. Much appreciation, not only to the great members of the Protect You crew, paying off a lot of the investment. We always talk about how we can give you the tools, but you're going to have to be the one to get out there and execute. Right. This, I think, was the best version of that payoff. So congratulations to the great high school members of the Protect You crew, not just those that were at La Tech, but the others that have been making some great visits around the country as well.
I mean, guys, we had Texas State, right?
Yeah,
like Colin Weeks was at Texas State. Cash Farrell, right, was at Texas State. Joshua Vimel was at Kansas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. Jalen Kilo was at Arkansas. I mean, who knows where D-Jax is? He's so damn fast. He's so fast.
D-Jax is moving.
He's like the freaking road runner. I was like, dude, where were you? Just 5 minutes ago. You were right here. What do you mean you're in Katy?
The saying we had Brandon Hebert was up in the
he was Harvard, right?
Yeah, he was up in the Northeast.
Yeah, he went back to Harvard for another sneak peek, right? Of Harvard grad. Harvard man. Something to be said about that. But all of our guys, were there, and I can't wait to hear their stories and to hear, how they conducted themselves, and did they leave with the right contacts, right? Did they follow up? Have the coaches started following them? All those things is a part of this process, because as now, Jake, as you mentioned earlier, as we get through now spring games, because now spring games are completely done for college football. Now you got high school spring and then camp season, right? So now this is when the college coaches get to come see them, right? So you see how you flip that coin, Jake, and it just kind of comes around, and the only steady piece is Protection United, doing what we do and ensuring that our guys are prepared, for when that moment comes. So for everybody watching, please make sure you're at school every day. College coaches are now going to be popping up. They might come see you in third period. Make sure you're in class. And, of course, guys, on the field, like Jason said, go hard every play. You never know who's watching. You could have a coach coming to look for somebody else, and next thing you know, their eye kind of wanders on you. So go hard, guys. I know y'all got practice today, and you got it all the way through for most of you until mid-April, right? So another maybe week, and then the rest of you guys are going to be ending, I believe, the end of April. So just be ready, right? You don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
Love it, Jay. Love it, love it. And once again, my congratulations goes out to the great members of the Protect You crew that continue to get out there and prove their stuff all the way from the collegiate level down to those up and coming sophomores and even in some cases those up and coming freshmen. It truly does mean a lot to continue to pay off and to talk about you guys in such a positive light. It makes my job a hell of a lot easier. I'll tell you that much. And I know it makes your job easy saying, hey, look at what my guy's been doing.
Right. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It makes it easier. Definitely makes it easier when you're trying to continue to grow something and, you know, your own kid is kind of that walking, you know, proof of it can happen. And then you get a guy like Jason Phillips to come on and tell his story, another example of proof that it can happen. But then, of course, right, what you're doing with, you know, talking to the kids, preparing them for interviews, and then just seeing, right? And then, of course, 14 straight weeks of offers.
I got a good feeling we're going to make it to 15. Jay.
Shut up, Jay.
I got a good feeling about it. I got a good feeling about it. But that will come down the line, folks, in this next week's episode of the Protect You podcast, because that does it for this week, y'all. I know it was a lot of content that we were bringing to y'all. The great offers, a great opportunity to sit down once again with Jason Phillips. And then, of course, we had to talk about that road trip and highlighting a lot of the action and a lot of the movement our guys have been going on. If you liked what you saw here on the Protect You podcast, be sure to head on over to the Protection United YouTube channel and drop a subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every single time we go live and every single time we post. That does it for this week's episode of the Protect You podcast, though. I have been Jake Wilson, as always, alongside the man, Jay Mickens. Justin Woods was our excellent producer. A special shout out goes to Jason Phillips for coming on, and we're going to catch y'all on the next one. See you around.